Well, this is Colin Dawson, and I have to say here on today's date and everything that I'm going to do my best to try and send some amount of money over to the Ukraine area, see if something comes of it, happens of it. Um, I know I've had personal emails sent to me that's asking for $1,000 to $2,000, and I'm like, there's no way I can help you with that. And they're talking about that it'll help me out greatly and everything, and I can sit there and be like I had my Cherokee tough guy moment for whatever it is when this one guy looked at me over at the bear zoo that they have up there when I was real little, and he was the guy's son. The guy had died a little bit earlier. He wanted to introduce me to him and everything else. I was like 6 years, 5 years old, real young. And for everything out there with it, he had the same thing that, like, this one guy, whenever I was like 3, very big comedian out west now in California. His family's got really good for him, very happy for him and everything else. But it's like, you have that pause moment to where, you know, there's nothing you can do. And because of the way his dad died and everything else, and the constant violence up there, he basically had to turn his back on me, and the other guy had to do the same thing. And it's like, I'm just kind of sitting there going, no, no, I can't do that. Two, there's so many pictures with this one or two groups out there from Ukraine. Some of them I do trust and everything else. And it's like, during this time here, you buy your seeds February 1st, and then all of a sudden, and your garden supplies and everything else. And, a few days after Valentine's Day, everybody's begging for money, and you're tapped out in the middle of the month. I hate explaining it that way or saying it. It's always the short month out there in so many ways. Um, Bad things have came up and happened, and it's just one of those things. And it's like I can say that I did the exact same thing for the first time ever in my life, that this really famous comedian and this Cherokee guy did out there way far back. And I have total respect for them, and I understand why they do the things they do. But things happen in life as they are. All things considered here, not really sure what else to say. I've got a thing to put on the political minute. It's going to be just the same thing. I'm getting up here, doing the early run. Going to buy one or two other things here. Going to be looking about some appliances to get. Um, Getting a smelter here. All the bills are paid off here this month when the income tax comes in. And I've got a surplus. I can start buying silver and a couple of these other guns, and maybe if I get enough silver put together and everything, I'll be able to switch it into palladium. And there's 5 or 10 stocks that I want to try and invest into since they've came down so much. I know everybody's saying that we're going to be having a crash here. I do think that there could be a crash coming in a way. Obviously, the thing they're obvious saying, but they're not looking at it, that I'd say is going to make a crash more than anything else is Joe Biden going to have to step down from the presidency, or is he going to, he's our oldest president. Everybody said it with Reagan and it never happened. Is he going to kick the bucket? It's the obvious one everyone's saying and should be looking at, but everyone's going, fundamentals and everything else say this is what's going to happen. And I'm going, yes, in all things. Yes. Could I see a collapse in the gold market if Russia just wanted to destroy us and said it had to get food from someplace and threw that much gold into the open market with private use sales and just went by the international sell rate, and then going, we're one of the biggest miners of platinum and palladium. It's what we're going to base our economy off of. And then hold the transportation industry hostage. Yeah. Looking at everything else with everything all considered, yeah, that could happen. There's tons of other things. The banks are like, well, everybody's refinanced, so we don't have enough liquidity and other stuff. Not really going for it. Auto industry, SpaceX doesn't include enough of the average common day people, so it's going to be like the 60s startup when they first made the internet and the intranet, and it's just not going to be spread out enough. So, it's 20 some years later for the real industry to pick up. Bitcoin has wiped out hundreds of thousands of people. Kind of know something about it, can't really prove it. Found out something with some people begging for money in the Philippines that, resemble some people, and they sent me some pictures from back in the 80s. Again, kind of like some of the people from Ukraine, and it's like, you want to try and trust something, but at the same time, no. I would rather save up, seriously $10,000 and have two $10,000 credit cards in order to go over to the Philippines. And honestly, this year will probably be the last year you can go to China. And I'd love to just go to China, visit one city over there and everything on my own. And I would love to take a, tour that would go through something from Beijing down southward, and something that would go over into see the Great Wall and down through Sichuan. And, call it a day. I doubt I could go to outer Mongolia or someplace else like that. And there's just too much. China's just so huge. And, if I could, I would go to the Philippines and then down to Southeast Asia and just be like, it's really nice. If I was in shape, I seriously would. I would have hiked the Buddhist temples down the interior mountains of, Singapore all the way up to Tibet. But can't really do that nowadays. Looking at it, I think there's a lot of things that are going to come up, but it's just what's going to happen. I got to make do with what the hand is and live in the moment for it, and I think I'm going to do that. And I really am very happy and ecstatic over this, and hopefully I'll be able to make it somewhere. Colin Dawson.